episode.
Susie, coming in sing-songy.
622. I am Susie Meister. I'm here with Sarah Louise.
Always. Sarah
Louise. How are you?
I'm doing, as you may guess,
Fantastic.
super well. Fantastic.
Well.
As per usual.
That's so
I
good.
did something that I have not done in so long. And let me tell you, it was so much fun. I went out.
Oh, like on
Yeah.
the town, kind of?
Yes, Susie.
Whoa.
See, everybody knows when you say out, you do anything twice. No, I went out.
the real
It's kind of
thing.
like when you say, no, I like them.
Yeah. Where?
Well,
the
I went
heck
out
did
with
you
a guy that I
go?
like.
Oh
So,
my God.
yes.
What did you wear?
A little, like romper.
Romper number, huh?
Yeah, like a little jumpsuit, like a little linen jumpsuit. And some fun leopard shoes. But we did something that was like I've never done before and was so much fun. So I just, got to Denver and I haven't really explored a lot of places. And, this guy I'm dating, who wants his name on here. And he was kind of upset last time when we were on the episode and, you were talking about how oh man, all guys suck except for Adam or something. And he was holding his breath waiting for me to say, oh, and Eli too.
No, but I didn't
never
say
said
Adam.
anything.
I just said Jared, our listener.
Oh, Jared, that's funny.
didn't even include
That's
Adam.
great. He's going to like that even better. I'm like, see, we weren't even talking about our significant others. We were talking about the one person on the pod, our listener that we love.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but he was like, what about me? Hello. So, you're fine too.
I don't know.
Anyways.
He's on probation. I don't know for sure because I've nenever met him.
Yes, this is true.
And
We
I
don't
do
know-
not
you
take
don't know
your
for sure.
word for it.
No, shouldn't do that. That's safe. Yes. So he was he's asking me where have you been? Where do you want to go? Blah, blah, blah. I don't know any place. He was like, okay,
Oh, right.
here's what we're going to do. We're going to do our own little bar crawl. And we were one and done at every place we went. So we would go to a place, have a drink, go to another place.
Okay.
We ended up going to 7 different places.
Whoa, that's a lot of drinks.
A lot of drinks.
Holy crap.
I know. Your gal got drunk.
No. Sarah, you did not. You didn't.
I did. I mean,
I've never had 7 drinks in my life.
it was so fun.
Wow.
I mean, we started early and we went until 2 a.m. or something, something crazy. So
Right, it's
we
a
were
steady drip.
there. It was yeah. And we were snacking along the way and having eating with this little bar crawl too. So, we were good and it never, we were fine everywhere we went. And
Yeah.
It was so much fun. It's such a cool way to now if somebody asks me, oh, have you been here? Yeah, I could say yes to 7 new places all in one night. It was totally the way to do it. I had such a good time. The only thing
Uh-oh.
is that I was quickly reminded I'm no longer 25
Yeah, that is,
the next morning.
Yeah. I can imagine.
And I was like, oh, I mean, Sunday was 100% dedicated to sitting on the couch.
Right. What
with
were
a
your
100% chance
symptoms?
of pizza.
Just headache?
Yeah. I managed to not puke, which is really good for me because you know how I am.
Right.
And, right. I'm a puker. So
Yes.
I kept everything down. We were fine. But yeah, headache, just that. I'm so tired.
Yeah.
Just napped all day long.
Do you get hungry? I get so hungry.
Oh, Suze.
Yeah.
I looked over. I'm like, there's a 90% chance I'm going to need a pizza
Yeah.
in the next, whatever. Mm-hmm. So
I don't
ran
know
out,
the
got some
physiological
pizza.
reason for that, but it is undeniable.
Undeniable. You need something to soak up the grease. Or not, you need not soak up the grease, the other way
poison.
around. To soak up the alcohol.
Yeah.
You need some grease to soak up that. So
I'm
just
so glad
I don't
you
know.
had fun.
But it was so much fun and yeah, I don't know what I was not going out for so long. I mean, COVID,
Yeah,
pandemic,
just the,
that
the death.
and
the risk of death. Well,
But
and it is,
highly
it is
recommend
and
it.
it's fun. because of that. At least for me. Yeah. Anytime I'm out, I always have it in my mind, even now.
Yeah, of course. But we went, every place we went, we were like outside, except one place that was like a speakeasy that was really cool. But yeah, we went to cool old places, and he knew everything about all the places we went to. Like one place was an old mortuary and the coolest part, because he's an interior designer, so he like and knows about all like the restaurant scene in Denver. He said, he was like, you see underneath these tables, like the tables are resting on these big metal, I don't know, round
stands,
pieces, things. And he's like, those used to be the conveyor belt that rolled the dead bodies out.
Ooh, spooky.
And nobody knows it, but everybody's eating on it. Ooh, it's so cool to know those things.
I love it. That guy that ate his own leg would love that place.
Totally. It was like fun going out, getting drinks, also with a history and fact-filled tour of the city.
Fact-filled tour.
If that isn't like my favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
There we go. You know I love
thought so much about that since I hit upon that rock, that you love facts and trivia more than I do. Like, I'm not really into, fun facts and trivia as sort of, some people like you get really excited about those things.
Oh, so excited.
Yeah, so I totally get it why you love like tours.
Yes. He said, he was like, you get very excited. You're very passionate about things that you just learned about.
Yes.
And so he likes
He's right
to,
about that.
Yes. He likes to introduce me to fun things that I don't know about.
That's great. You have a little tour guide.
Yes.
That's
it's
like
so
your
much
dream
fun.
date.
I know. This is
really
what I'm
happy.
saying. It's going real well.
That's good.
Might
you
get a
deserve
medium
it.
launch soon. So
What did you say?
I said he might get medium launched soon.
I thought it would have already happened by now, to be honest.
Well, I you're right. I know.
Because you claim you're gun shy, but I know you, and like, and I know the difference between when you're like lukewarm or like really into. Yeah. So I'm thinking this guy's on the right path.
I mean, I hung out with his parents twice.
Right, and I've
already been to dinner with the parents. So
I look forward to meeting them more than him. I love Jewish old people.
Well, you will love them.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yes. It's the best when people have cool families, right?
Yes, I wouldn't know, but no, just kidding. If you're listening and you're a Meister. All right.
And my family doesn't listen, so whatevs. No, I'm kidding. My mom does.
Right. Just my sister listens. And then I was thinking about how you did that thing about, like, am I funnier than my siblings and stuff? And I had a particular sibling in mind when I was answering those questions. And so I feel like I need to tell her, like, just so you know, I don't think I'm funnier than you or whatever.
Well, and Lucas wrote me back afterwards.
Oh, yeah. What did he say?
He said...
Who did he think was the funniest Rice sibling?
That we're different kinds of funny. And I told him, I was like, don't just try to give me like the answer that I want here.
Yeah, placate.
Yeah, he said, that's tough. I think you guys are funny in different ways. And instantly he said, I think you guys, like he's talking about the two of us, not him. He says, you're more life of the party kind of funny, and Jordan is more quiet funny. But I think Jordan has the jokes that have made me laugh the hardest. Yeah. Well, he's fucking hilarious. But, me too.
So Lucas doesn't think he's the funniest.
Doesn't even. And I sent him that link. I was like, interesting, check this out. And I think Lucas is the funniest. Why? Because I've stolen all of his jokes.
Maybe that's why he doesn't think you're funny.
Yeah, totally. He's like, used material, not funny. Right.
And you are more like a punny kind of gal.
Am I?
Oh, you love a pun.
I do.
You do.
Okay, there was this
post. That's not an insult.
I know, but this is what I'm really like. There was this post that was like on Instagram that was a checklist of like dad jokes, like dad level. Like, how many do you check?
Yeah.
Susie.
Well, I know.
I check like every single one.
I know, but are
Why
you in
am I a
denial
dad?
about this?
No, I didn't know. I didn't know that I am that.
Sarah.
Like even
Sarah
down
told
to
me
one
the
of
joke.
them.
What's
one of
brown
them
and sticky? A stick. Okay, and
It's
you
a
didn't
fucking
know.
great joke. Everybody wants to say poo. And then you follow it up with
yes,
with what's red and smells like blue paint.
Right, red paint. Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fucking
no, you
amazing
have told
joke.
me this. Yeah, you have that is what dads do.
Okay. Then on the checklist, it was things that dads say, and then when they say it.
Right.
So when cashier tries to scan something and it doesn't ring, what does a dad say?
What?
Cashier's trying to scan an item. It doesn't ring up.
Oh, it's free.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
That's what and I would be doing that too. The other one that I was like, oh, fuck, it really is specific. Look, horses. And points to any time there are horses. I fucking do this.
You're going to make a great dad someday.
I'm going to make a great dad someday.
That's so funny.
I couldn't believe I checked 100% of the boxes.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I guess I better get some New Balances.
You're the only one that's surprised by this.
I did not know. I honestly didn't. I was like, oh, Dad, they're so funny. No, and now I'm thinking I would love to mow a lawn.
Oh, my God.
I know. It's real bad.
I can totally see you being really passionate about grilling.
Oh, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
But we love you.
Thanks,
Suze. It's not a criticism.
Right. This is very appropriate for Father's Day coming up.
God.
I guess with no dad in the picture, I just celebrate myself.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to me for being my own dad.
Well, that's why you should buy yourself some dad grass.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean?
I love me some dad grass. And I have been off of the weed, and I find that dad grass is everything that I need. I don't even need it.
Whoa, that's great.
I know, because all I really needed was to chill out.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of the dad grass. It's just much calmer, groovier, get in the zone rather than cuckoo crazy.
A mellow toke.
A mellow toke. It just relaxes your body and mellows your mind. Dad grass is legal, organic, smokable hemp. It has CBD, a lot of that, and then a teeny bit of THC.
Teeny, doesn't even come up on a drug test.
Yeah, and it will...
we tested it.
Legal in 50 states, will be delivered to your door as long as you're 21 and over. And you get a nice little buzz, and you can be totally cool, man. Yes. Right now, Dadgrass is offering our listeners 20% off your first order when you go to dadgrass.com/braincandy. Go to dadgrass.com/braincandy for 20% off your first order. That's dadgrass.com/braincandy. And you should get this for Father's Day.
Yes.
Obviously.
So cool. And if you are somebody who's oh, I don't really like smoking, well, they have what do they call them? Tinticure?
They have
tinctures. I always pronounce that wrong.
Yeah.
And that works wonderful.
Yeah, just put it right on your old liquor.
Yep. I did that before a car ride, a long little car, road trip.
Yeah.
Usually being in
yeah, you get restless.
Kind of have this itchy feeling. Mm-hmm. Yes. No restlessness.
Wow, that's a good tip.
Mellow Sarah.
I can't even picture that.
I know. Susan's bring some of that when you come visit me. Don't worry, Sus. I got it.
No, we're a good balance because, I'm more mellow and you're funner. We all know it. I'm fine with it.
That's
okay.
Funny.
First, I have to sing the praises of the extraordinary Brian Wilson documentary that I watched.
Oh, even when I saw you post about it, I was like, this is Susie's dream documentary. Tell me everything.
Well, as you all know, I do love the Beach Boys, so I am biased. And so keep that in mind. But if you love music and if it speaks to your soul, then I think you will enjoy it. Because there is something about Brian. Mm-hmm. Everyone says he's a genius. And he's prodigious. He has a special brain he has an orchestra in his head. And so it was really fascinating to actually watch him, the way that it was structured. Most of it was filmed using those lipstick cams in a car. And he was just driving around with his friend who is a Rolling Stone editor. And they have this long history. So Brian was comfortable. But Brian Wilson is a very strange person, and he's struggled with a lot of problems, mental illness and addiction, and you can tell right away he's an odd person. But, you know, he was comfortable in that car. So that's where most of it took place. And they would just talk about the music. And then it was, of course, they'd show footage of all this stuff. But his dad was abusive and famously hit him with a 2x4 in his head as a young boy. And so he was partially damaged from that in his ear and also his brain. But
in his ear?
Yeah.
And he's that talented musician.
And he also has been diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder, so he's been hearing voices in his mind for most of his life. And music is his respite, and he has to get it out. And what he produces is transcendent.
It is. It is unbelievable. I'll tell you, I never really understood just how intricate, complex, layered their music was until I looked up the chords.
Oh, forget it.
Fucking forget it. I was like, wouldn't it be cute to learn a Beach Boys song on my ukulele? I would need 10 extra fingers and a lifetime of ukulele practice before I could even attempt one of those songs. Yeah. It's insane.
And that's
it's everything.
I've always been drawn to, is because like I like to imagine that I'm similar to their music in the sense that like I seem very light and, you know, I've got fake boobs and blonde bleached hair and, you know, silly, but, you know, inside there's greater complexities. And that's how I've always seen their music, because the orchestration is unreal. And you would have all these musicians listening to the tracks, like isolated tracks, and they'd be like, what the fuck is that? Is that a banjo? Is that a harmonica? Is that a harp? Because the way he produces it's different than anyone else.
Like your favorite song, God Only Knows?
Yeah.
I mean, you feel that in your soul.
Like I'm tearing up.
Oh, I love this.
Because it's so good. It is otherworldly, I think. Oh, it really is.
It is.
But one of the first scenes when I knew I was like fucked is they were at a diner and Brian said to the guy that he was feeling scared. And this is like a 70-something or even older person saying, I'm scared. And the guy was like, it's okay, we'll just sit here then. And then he goes, Brian said, what do you do when you're scared? I was like, oh no, I am going to cry for 2 hours.
Stop it.
Because he's still very much innocent and like that boy that was hit by his dad.
Oh my gosh.
Sarah, I can't take
Susie, I can't take it.
So it was so moving to me to see someone be that vulnerable. What was the answer? The guy just said, you know, I try to breathe and this and that. And then Brian said, you're a good person. Because, you know, he was soothed by that, you know, just knowing that other people feel scared sometimes too. And they have to figure out ways to cope with it. Come on.
Mr. Rogers can never, ever go off the air and always needs to be a thing, because that sounds like a Mr. Rogers lesson right there.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, my heart.
It was incredible. So even if you don't necessarily like the Beach Boys, you would love it if you love music or the way that the mind can cope with trauma and create beautiful art. But also the burden of being a genius was very clear. You know, when some people have been telling you your whole life you're a genius, there's a bit of a bad part to that, you know.
Yes.
So that's on Amazon. It was so great. Anyway, I will cry about it later.
So good.
And let's change the subject. Okay. I read a couple things that I wanted to hear your thoughts on. So first, I read this really cool article about how, you know, we always talk about social media and how complicated it is and how it can make you feel bad and maybe some ways to not let that happen. The way that they described it was that social media, by definition, makes you absolutely focused on the past, because whether you're posting something that happened to you or you're looking at things that happened to other people, it is something from the past.
Yep.
And that the human brain is not designed to think about the past that much.
You know what it creates?
What?
Depression.
Yeah.
When our mind is in the past, it creates depression. And when our mind is in the future, it creates anxiety.
It is so true. Mm-hmm. And I really appreciated that explanation because sometimes you feel that, but you don't really know why. You think, well, maybe I'm just jealous of other people's lives or whatever. But it's deeper than that. Your brain is begging for being in the moment and being in the past a certain amount of time and being in the future a certain amount of time, you know? And then
to try to soothe itself from those depressive feelings, it thinks that it needs more of the social media.
Right.
Maybe if I see it more. In the same way, when we get anxious thinking about some future event that is, and we're like thinking about all the hypothetical ways that it could go wrong, but none of those are actually going to happen, that your brain tries to come up with more of those to soothe itself when really you need to tell it to stop. And so you have to tell it to stop looking. You have to redirect to the present. It's that easy and that hard.
And then I got Link in this book of optical illusions because I had read A.J. Jacobs' book Puzzler, which is about all different kinds of puzzles and why they're cool and what the brain does when you're doing different kinds of puzzles and games.
Excuse me? When were you going to share that book with me?
It was on Instagram, Sarah. It was in the past.
Fucking A!
Yeah.
That should be our book club pick.
I think you'd really like it. I sent one to Chloe.
I know I would like it.
Because Chloe said she wanted to read it, so I sent her a copy, and I didn't think to send you one, and now I'm sad.
Oh, that's okay.
I really let you down.
Oh, it's okay. I'm going to make it my book club pick for like next month or something.
Okay, because it includes tons of games and puzzles you can try.
Come on.
Sarah's glitching.
I am. Because I drove by a billboard right by the exit to my house that feels like they put it there for me that says puzzles and brain games is the new, like, I don't know, attraction or whatever you want to call it. The new at the Museum of Science and
they're doing that at the
Nature and Science. Mm-hmm. They're doing a whole thing on puzzles and games. And I already text like everybody I know in Denver, like, who's coming with me to this? Like, this is clearly
That's
for
right
me. They put it on my exit. So yeah, I'm in. We're gonna have a puzzle themed July. Woo!
Did you text your friends also about Liquid IV by any chance?
You know, it's funny you say that because Liquid IV was my cure for Sunday.
I bet it was.
Yes.
That's hilarious.
I had to have 4 of them.
Yeah.
But hell.
Yeah.
That's probably why I didn't puke.
Well, that's probably why. And I know
because I finally was hydrated.
Like, I see people, almost everyone I know online drinks Liquid IV now, so I know it's sweeping the nation, but it's a hydration multiplier. So if you're dehydrated from a night out like Sarah, or just from going to the gym, or maybe, I bet you it's worse too for you because you're in higher altitude
Susie.
as well. Oh,
check.
You're screwed.
And I did, I worked out the day before. We went to yoga, everything. I was very I needed this. Yeah.
Well, and everyone I know is also feeling sick, so this is a great thing to have on hand for when you're under the weather. It will hydrate you 2 times faster and more efficiently than water alone, and it has refreshing flavors like watermelon, lemon, lime, strawberry, pina colada, and more. We love it. We've been telling you for years.
Pina colada. I haven't tried that one.
Well, and you were going to make it with
yes.
What do you call
it?
Well, pina colada. Yeah. What do you call that? Booze.
What do you call it? Booze.
Yeah. So we'll have to have that for summer as well. Grab Liquid IV in bulk nationwide at Costco, or you can get 25% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use code CANDY at checkout. That's 25% off anything you order when you use promo code CANDY at liquidiv.com. Experience better hydration today at liquidiv.com.
Yes.
Okay. So anyway, I bought Link in this optical illusion book, and we've been getting really into them because I just think they're fun, and I thought it would be something he and I could do together. And so then I found this article in the New York Times, and it had a picture of like a black hole kind of thing, and then there was like circles outside of it. And the title was something like just about optical illusions and how it affects the brain. And it said that when you looked into this particular one, and the main part of it is that black hole, that your brain thinks that you're going to be entering a tunnel. And so, that's what your brain lights up to do. And then as a result, your eyes will dilate thinking you're going in there. And they were saying that the reason that happens, because your brain is supposed to know like what's real and what isn't. But,
supposed to.
Yeah, like theoretically. But
it's terrible.
These optical illusions are tricky for your brain. Yes. And the reason why your eyes dilate and stuff is because it is going into the future. So this is like the opposite of social media. So social media is all the past.
It's like a balance.
Optical illusions are all about the future because your brain is trying to figure out what it's looking at so it can prepare you. And our brains are always like a little bit behind. You know how we've talked about that recently?
Yes.
And so they're just trying really hard to predict, like, is she going into a tunnel? What's happening right now? And it's working overtime. But, I mean, it's a good thing. It's like by design. And it's saying that these optical illusions also are informed by your own experience. So not everybody will see that same optical illusion. That our brains are using
I always felt like, why is it weird that some people can't see this?
Yeah, like it's based on what you've experienced. And the example they gave was that the dress.
Yes.
Okay? So everyone was like, why do I see a different color than you? It's based on what your brain has already experienced. So if these 100%. Colors appeared in a certain way in your life, in certain formations, then it's like, that's what this is. And then someone else's brain says, no, it's this other thing. So that is freaking crazy.
I talk to clients about this all the time. I use the analogy of like our brain is like a file cabinet. And
you were just telling me this.
Yes, we have a very lazy secretary who's like running the like getting all the files and everything. And so if you go to your file on, say, I don't know, let's like think of a good example. Like, I don't know, what to expect when I look out at the ocean. What ifs, you know?
Yeah.
That your brain, your secretary in your brain is like, oh, yeah, let me grab that file. And it just like randomly grabs like the first page like of the file for looked at an ocean. Mm-hmm. And it'll use that information to make predictions about what it's going to see. This happens in relationships. This happened with every fucking thing that we do. When people are like, oh, how come I always have like the same experience in love? Well, you're going into the file cabinet, and unless we rewrite the files in the file cabinet or add new files, or
it's going to always refer to these experiences.
It will always refer to that experience because that's the blueprint, that's the file, that's the information that's in there, and that secretary is not going page by page going, what is the perfect one for this? No, it's giving the most general, the most used, like what's the most likely thing for me to pull out? Yeah, probably this one, and like isn't even checking if that's what we really need. So we have to be like, whoa, hang on, secretary or executive assistant, whatever you'd like to call it. You need to like give me the right information. And that's what intention is and awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. There you go.
It's true. And like your brain's doing a great job.
Yeah.
But may not have all the right information or like how they didn't see the boat out on the ocean before they knew what boats were.
Yes, that's what I always go to.
Yeah.
That's the looking out at the ocean. Yes. And if you don't know what we're talking about, there is this story, whatever you want to call it, that when the Christopher Columbus's ships arrived, that the Native Americans did not even see them because they did not have a frame of reference, didn't have anywhere in their mind to they'd never seen that before. What a boat was. So they could not even see it with their eyes. And it wasn't until a shaman saw the ripples in the water and from the ripples in the water was able to think, something must be out there because something is creating these ripples in the water, and started to open his mind up to the idea of there being something out there. And then once he saw it, he was able to pass on that information, and then everybody else saw it. Oh, that is so crazy because this shit is real. Like, you don't know what you don't know, and you don't even know if your eyes are seeing the same thing as the person next to you because they might not be.
Yeah, and be open
and we
to
even
that.
Can see the same situation and interpret it in two different ways. Mm-hmm. Like when somebody, like a ref makes a call in a football game, and one side goes, I saw this, and the other side, like, I saw this. They will actually see different things based on what situation and outcome they want. Mm-hmm. I mean, why do we even trust what we see?
Right? I mean...
completely unreliable.
Constantly talk about how valuable our brains and memories are. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting to see all these ways that your brain is like, you know, just trying to keep you in line. Like I talked about last time about addiction, and your brain's like preparing for that poison or the caffeine or whatever.
That's so crazy.
All of it. Like our brains are doing a heck of a lot. And so social media is the past. Optical illusions are the future. But we also need to really remember the present. And that's what we talk about so much on the show, mindfulness, being in the moment. But you have to be intentional. I mean, that's hard to do because everything is competing for your attention in these other ways.
Yes. All the
so
time.
That was super interesting. Maybe Delia can put that in the newsletter. I want to do a poll about the dress because I wonder if it's evenly split in terms of what people saw. I don't remember hearing the data on whether one was more frequent blue
and then
blue and black or something.
Yeah, blue and black and like white and gold.
What did you see? Do you know? You have to Google it and tell me what you see.
Yeah. I feel like initially it's like one of those things where it changes when you, what color?
Because I always just saw the golden
dress?
cream one.
Oh, blue and blue. Definitely black and blue.
Isn't that funny?
100%.
You and me are opposites.
Yep. Okay, here's what I wonder about this. One seems, because it's a lighting, and it's about the lighting, and it's about daylight time. So I wonder if you were, say, a morning person, which you are.
Which I am.
You have seen that bright morning light.
Maybe.
And built a file on, most things are this color. Mm-hmm. Whereas, like, maybe I'm a night owl, and maybe because I don't see that, and I see more of the shadows because that's my file's bigger for that. Mm-hmm. I picked up black and blue,
or because you're witchy,
or because I'm witchy. You know, it's always the answer.
I mean, yeah. So we'll do a poll.
So
we'll
crazy.
Find out if people if we skew one way or the other. And this is actually...
Oh, that's so cool, Suze.
I know. I'm just fascinated. I can't help it. I'm also fascinated by Milk Bar because they have the most delicious treats. Mm-hmm. And if you're thinking maybe for Father's Day or whatevs, holiday, to have something special... They have beautiful cakes and pies. The Milk Bar pie with the toasted oat crust with a gooey butter filling. Hello.
Oh, she did go back and order that one.
I did. It's so good. Strawberry shortcake is delicious. The cookies are amazing. And they can ship it to you real fast. It is so good. It tastes like you baked it that day. Right now, Milk Bar has a special limited time offer. Get $10 off any $50 or more order when you go to milkbarstore.com/braincandy. Get $10 off an order of $50 by going to milkbarstore.com/braincandy, milkbarstore.com/braincandy. This is making me think of this other article I read about a study that they did at Ohio State where they scanned the brains of a ton of people. It's a really big study, and they could predict your political ideology.
Susie, I read this too. I say, like, fucking crazy.
What did you think of it?
I feel like this is kind of similar in the way, remember, we talked about this a long time ago, that there's something they called the God gene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That can, if people have this gene, then they're more likely to be religious.
Yeah, that some things are genetic or you're predisposed to be spiritual or whatever is what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Totally. And
so
what
I feel
bothered
like
me
it's
though,
kind of along that.
I agree, but what bothered me, and I think they must have done this intentionally, is that the article said that there are 3 scans in particular that were highly predictive of your ideology. One was an empathy task where participants were shown photos of emotional people, like, happy, sad, fearful, whatever. Then there was a task about episodic memory. And then the third was like a reward task. So participants could win or lose money based on how quickly they pushed a button. Mm-hmm. They did not say what the behaviors were of the people and how, like whether that meant them, they were liberal or conservative. And
I hate that they didn't do that.
Right? Like, who has empathy?
Because
I know, but
I know.
Well, everyone would probably say that, though. Everyone would think that the way they lean has more empathy, etc.
That's really interesting.
But I'm like, and then I went to a Reddit thread because I thought, what am I not understanding the scientific language in this? Did they say it and I'm not getting it? And the Reddit thread was saying, like, why didn't they say it? Mm-hmm. So I knew that it must have been intentional that they didn't say. But the fact that the brain, because the tasks that they were asked to do were not political in any way.
Yeah.
These were just neutral tests.
Regular tasks.
But that it did.
But it could predict
Isn't that bonky? Our brains are magic.
Yeah. Well, that kind of. So I feel like it is kind of like, and of course they said it's like, it shows like that it's correlated, like, and I feel like we're kind of taking what we're not saying in there is certain personality traits are assigned to different, like, political ideologies.
Well, that made me wonder, though, if I had taken the test when I was conservative versus now, whether those brain scans would reflect that or not.
Okay.
Right?
This is interesting.
Yeah, I need to know more, and I'm excited about it.
I have so many questions.
Yeah.
And also, okay, do you know of anybody who went the other direction? Was
not
very
personally.
liberal.
Not
Me
personally.
neither. Not one.
Well,
anybody?
I would argue. I mean, this would be controversial. So if I don't want to offend anyone, I'll just speak for myself. Mm-hmm. For myself, I was indoctrinated and grew up in a particular way, and then once I began learning and reading on my own, things started to shift, and we do know scientifically that greater education does correlate with greater liberalism.
Yes.
I'm not saying anything more.
We're just talking science.
Yeah, I'm just saying that that's the fact of the data.
Those are the facts.
That less education tends to correlate with more conservatism.
Right.
Not always, but often.
And exposure to different kinds of people and different groups.
So I can't imagine someone growing up liberal and then getting
narrowing
more information. Yeah, that would be harder for me to picture. But maybe some of our listeners have experienced that. Maybe they've changed that way. So I would love to hear from them.
Me too.
This particular study said only the scans of the reward task, the one where they were rewarded or lost money, could predict political extremism. And only the empathy task was significantly associated with moderate ideology. Weird, right?
That's so interesting.
I'm going to need more scientists.
Me too.
But it's exciting.
This is very interesting. It's very exciting. And I want to know what parts of the brain are lighting up. I want to see the scans.
Yeah, they did say that. They said what parts of the brain.
I'm going to have to look that up.
Yeah. Because that part they were fine sharing. Mm-hmm. Like what parts there? Because they said there were other studies that had been done that did like isolated parts of the brain, like, oh, this part lit up. But this was looking at a full brain scan, so it was showing the ways that the connectivity and how the whole brain was communicating with different parts of itself So it was more thorough. Fascinating. Okay.
Yeah, it sure is.
Years and years ago, Sarah told us about a film called The Bridge.
Did you finally watch it?
I finally watched it.
Suze.
If you don't remember, you haven't heard of it. It's a documentary where they filmed the Golden Gate Bridge throughout at least a few months, but maybe the whole year of 2004. And we're waiting for the people that inevitably would end their life by jumping. Mm-hmm. And you had told me, that there's footage of people taking the jump. And, then they interview either family members of the deceased or people that were on the bridge at the time. And I remember asking you when you told me about it, like, what about people that survived? Like, did they say that they regretted jumping? Mm-hmm. And I know you had said yes, so I knew that was true. But just hearing from that person.
Isn't that an amazing story?
Yeah.
And what saved him?
He said that after he jumped, the second he jumped, he regretted it.
Yep.
And then he said that and this is 225 feet or so.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. That's so far.
It's weird because visually it's hard to tell,
What helps me is to think that the maximum height they ever dropped us from on the challenge is, I believe, between 28 and 32 feet because it's the maximum height that you can drop somebody before physical injury.
Well, on my road rules,
32 feet.
We jumped off cliffs, and the highest one was 45, and the professionals jumped at 100. Cliff divers.
Yeah, and so if people are saying, you wouldn't get hurt from 32 feet, it's when you are falling uncontrollably. Mm-hmm. So when you're diving or when you're able to enter the water in the right way is very different than when you're being catapulted off of something and,
And
smack.
Once he felt that feeling of regret, he said he had tried to adjust his fall so that his feet would somehow break the landing. Mm-hmm. And it worked out for him, but
what about the seal?
Yeah, he said that once he surfaced.
Yeah.
But he couldn't scream, of course, because, his body was in shock and all that. And he claimed that there was a seal beneath the water that was hoisting him up. Mm-hmm. That he said was God.
I'm going to cry. And if he had hit the water and there wasn't something like kind of breaking up the water beneath him, it would have been hitting, cement even more because it would have been like that. Nothing to break the fall, but because the seal was there, it created some sort of landing pad almost. Oh, that story.
There were 24 people that killed themselves that year from the bridge, and more people killed themselves from the Golden Gate Bridge than anywhere else in the world. I don't know why, because they tried to claim it was some sort of romantic.
Yeah.
But that's hard for me to understand.
I think that when any place becomes identified, yes, as a spot that can provide an escape, because that's what people are looking for. When the pain of life becomes more unbearable than the fear of death, that's when suicide becomes an option for people. And so when they see other people, or when there is this mythology about people being able to escape that pain of life in this particular place, that then becomes the focus for those people of, I need to be at that place where other people were free of that pain.
Right. I do.
And the other places, there's a forest in Japan that is known for this.
Right. Yeah. I understand the impulse. We've talked about that darkness that can seep into our minds.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
But I still, even though I do understand it and experience that darkness sometimes, I still get really pissed at these people. And I feel like it's so self-indulgent. Isn't that weird that that's my reaction? But that's how it feels. It's just like, because their brain is lying to them and making them think that
their brain is lying to them.
Two things. Like, I think their brain is telling them that this is permanent, this pain.
Yes.
And that I do think there's an element where they think it's worse than what other people are experiencing.
Yes,
right?
I would agree.
And so that's why it kind of feels self-indulgent to me. Even when I feel that way.
Right.
I'm like, this is gross.
Well, in a way, that feeling is a self-protective factor.
Tell me.
That feeling of it. It's the feelings about the feelings.
Yeah.
And that.
But I don't get the feeling that
kind of
most
get you
of
out
them
of that.
Yeah, that's right. That's why
that can get you out of that. Gets me out of that. It gets,
right.
It makes it so I can go, oh, wait a sec.
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
And if you can't do that, then it's hard when your brain, and a lot of it, because the ones that were interviewed, the families say that these individuals have been struggling with this their whole lives.
Yeah.
And I can't think that chemicals and a chemical imbalance is not at play here.
Well, for sure. Yeah. And are fighting a battle that I can't understand.
Yeah.
I was thinking, though, because they did show a couple people who were rescued by passersby. Mm-hmm. And that was fascinating and beautiful to watch. But I was thinking, like, okay, what would I say if I came upon someone that was considering that at that exact moment? Mm-hmm. And I was trying to think of, like, what would work for me. So, like, I assume these people just truly think, nobody, maybe some of them, nobody cares, or they are without value or whatever. And, like, I was thinking about how I would ask them, like, what they thought their best trait was. And they would probably say, like, I don't have any, like, I'm the worst. But I would say, well, I already know what your best trait is. Like, just seeing you right now. And it's that you probably feel things more intensely.
Susie, that's so sweet.
Which is it can be so painful if you feel intensely.
Yeah.
But it can be so beautiful too.
Yes.
What the hell would you say?
Oh, I would ask them, if I stopped it, and maybe they, I said, I just am here to help. And then I think I would ask when it was the last time you helped somebody. Mm-hmm. And get them to connect to something outside of themselves and how they have purpose. And so, oh my God, it makes me like emotional thinking about that. And
well, I think that's a really good idea, what you're suggesting. Yeah.
And then I would give them an assignment or task of like, I need your help. I have these plants that I need watered once a week, and I'm not able to do it.
Yeah. Or
can you come by and water my plants once a week?
Sarah, what do you think would happen? This is very King Solomon, like, level risky business. But, like, what if you said, like, you know what, I'm going to jump with you? I bet you they'd be like, no, don't.
Right.
Like, they would not want other people to do what they're doing.
Other people to feel that.
Yeah. Right. But that's such a good point.
It's like taking it out of, and like, so, anytime I'm working with, I took an entire class on, we have to like do a lot of training on suicide awareness, prevention, assessment, and just to be able to comfortably talk about these feelings because so many people experience them. And so to be able to talk about them and to be able to not be scared of them and just understand how to kind of like work through those feelings, I think is so important. So there are like kind of tools and things that we do, creating almost like a safety plan. And, one of the most effective things is getting them to commit to coming in to the next session. Or an animal or, a lot of people's, like, what's the motivation to what are the reasons? And oftentimes it's for other people. And so if you can really kind of focus on.
That's what I mean, how it's self-indulgent. And
then
how
they can kind of get out of that.
Yeah. How about, you probably don't remember this because you watched it so long ago, but there was one guy that did it. I was so fucking annoyed with him.
Was he the one with the long hair, kind of gothy?
No. Well, I was annoyed with him too, but that one...
It's amazing how much I can remember, and it really has been like 20 years since I've seen
that was the thread throughout the whole thing. They started with him and ended with him, and they waited to the very end to show you his jump.
Oh, God, my heart.
But there is this other... Wait, actually, let me think. I can't remember if it was him or a different one, but the friends were there, and they were saying that he was constantly saying he was going to do it. And
I think that was him.
Okay. And, I mean, at a certain point, it would just be like, ugh, enough, because that's a big
Somebody
burden.
wasn't giving him what... Yeah, it is.
Because he would be like, I'm going to go put my head on train tracks and stuff. Like, I would be furious.
Like that, his story really was the one
what the hell
that
was wrong with
told
that
me
guy?
that that was chemical imbalance. That was, his brain was lying to him.
Yeah.
And he did not have the support that he needed.
You're right.
And there was not, I just don't see a therapist present in that guy's life.
Well, and you can tell that even though he had people that cared about him, you do get fed up after years and years of someone saying they're going to do that and whatever. And it's hard to know how to handle it every time because they called it like crying wolf.
Yeah.
And you could tell they were sort of fed up because the one lady was like, I told him to put my name in a baggie in his pocket so I knew when he did it. Like, I mean, that's a real disconnect from what you would imagine you would do, but I can see how someone would get to that point.
Yeah, and I mean, when the mind is made up, it's just not listening to that mind and recognizing that that's not that's not you.
Yeah, right.
That is something else, and it may feel like that and then when I talk to clients about how we all have a soundtrack inside of our head. Like, what's the soundtrack in your mind? Like, if we were to, and it's usually like the same, like the movie soundtrack. Like, it's the same 12 tracks over and over and over.
Well, and we've talked about this before, but like they showed in the film some of the diary sentences or letters that they wrote. And it was that, the things they would say about themselves were so cruel. I'm a loser. I am worthless. I have no whatever. And these are things almost none of us would say to anyone else.
Right.
Like, we are so
how you say to
mean
Lincoln,
ourselves.
I will never, you are not allowed to talk to my best friend that way.
Right.
I have adopted that, and I say that to clients. Oh, no. You are not allowed to talk to my client that way.
How dare you?
How dare you speak that way to my client?
It is sad how we do that, though, as humans.
It's awful. And then there's some other, I can't remember who is the researcher who did this, but they said that it takes the brain 17 seconds before it latches on to an idea and then like kind of goes in that direction. So in order to switch the brain, you can almost think of like train tracks, like, how you have to like kind of pull that lever and like switch the tracks over. And you have to be thinking about you can't just challenge those negative thoughts with a quick like, no, I'm not the worst. You have to really think about that for at least 17 seconds before your brain will veer into the other lane.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
So people should like intentionally recite certain things to get back in the right space.
Yes.
Even if they don't believe it.
Yes.
Right. 17. Yeah. Wonder why fucking 17 seconds.
Yeah, it's the 17-second rule. I'm trying to remember.
Who the hell came up with that?
Yeah, there's this author, Abraham Hicks. Do you know who that is?
No.
Yeah, I don't either. But I've been hearing this around, and it's like that 17 seconds law declares that the manifestation process commences once a single thought has been held in the mind for 17 seconds. Abraham refers to this as the combustion point. You can intensify your desire and strength and strengthen it until the thought spans up to 68 seconds. When you hold a thought for 17 seconds, you are setting in motion for the manifestation of that thought.
I think a lot about how you talked on one episode about how an emotion only lasts for like 90 seconds.
That's it. 90 seconds.
Because I do remind myself of that when I'm having a moment. I'm like, oh, good, this will be over soon.
Yeah, just breathe through it. 90 seconds. Set a timer.
It's real.
Most
helpful.
of the time, it doesn't even. What happens is we add on to that feeling.
Yeah.
We intensify that feeling by, in a way, kind of validating it. Yeah. We're trying to explain and rationalize why we're having that feeling. And when we do that, we're providing validation or evidence for why we're having that feeling when we need to be. And then we're keeping our mind in that 68 seconds that manifests, action towards something negative. When really we have to recognize, step one, awareness. Who's talking in your mind? Who's doing the talking? Usually, 99.9% of the time, this is like the biggest. I saw this so frequently in grad school, and they never talked about it. And then I asked one of my supervisors, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's definitely a thing." And I'm like, "Why aren't we just put it in the books?"
Yeah, they're burying the lead on that.
So when a simple trick for knowing who's like running the show in your brain, when we are coming from a compassionate place, we tend to speak in third person. Mm-hmm. You're doing just fine. You're going to be fine. Well,
we talked about this because I always refer to my childhood self as Susie. Little Susie, blah, blah, blah. Because I like her. She's great.
Yes.
And that's the third person thing.
Yes. And when we are being, like, coming from that ego state, that more... Mm-hmm. What is the word I want to use? The more critical thought, the more judgmental, it will be, I am such an idiot.
I'm the worst.
I'm the worst.
Yeah.
We need to get out of that place and have that conscious awareness to look at ourselves from a bird's eye view. And I say with clients, zoom out. Mm-hmm. Let's zoom out on what's going on here. What are the things contributing to this thought? What are the things? Let's do a little HALT, HALT. Are we hungry, angry, lonely, or tired? Could that be contributing to this thought first? Then deal with those things, which does what? Puts us in the present. Hello.
Well, and knowing that you would never say those things about somebody else. So if you put your name in the third person that way, it's almost like you're making it another person so you can be kind.
Bingo.
Yeah. Oh. And I guess the biggest takeaway for me over these years of learning and trying to understand life and whatever, as we all do, is how it is just not ever going to be one of those things where you're like, okay, I figured it out. I'm all done. Because it's just daily, like flossing. Yep. It is a daily thing where you have to just continuously choose it. And that's why it's so hard.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. It never gets easier, but you get better.
Right.
100 pounds is always going to be 100 pounds. But the more you practice picking that 100 pounds up, the easier that 100 pounds gets to pick up, or becomes, the easier it is to pick up. And when you have been picking up the same 100 pounds with maybe the wrong coping strategy, you are strengthening those muscles. And so when you work with a therapist or you decide to make changes or anything, like you want to switch the coping strategy and you're like, I'm going to learn a new tool to pick up this 100 pounds. But it's really fucking heavy and it's really hard. And then it's almost like picking it up with, you have two arms. You've got one of like the old habit that you've been using all the time. And then you got the other arm. There's like this new little flimsy arm that's never done anything. And you're like teaching it this new thing. And then here's 100 pounds in front of you. You're instinctively going to go to pick it up with that old behavior, that strong arm. And so because it's the easier way to do it. It may not be the best, but it's the one you know. So you have to be aware and say, no, I don't want to use that old way. I'm going to have to train this arm. And until you have both arms matching or the other one stronger, you'll keep on having to do that. But that won't be forever. Mm-hmm. Soon there'll be more symmetry. There'll be more, things will be more balanced. You won't go to that old coping strategy anymore. But you have to build up the new one and create those pathways in your brain. I mean, we know neuroplasticity is a thing. You have to create the new neural pathways. And if it fires together, it wires together. And if you don't wire it together, it ain't going to happen. You have to keep sending the information down that path in order to turn that little side road into a freeway in your mind that then can use that as the default way to solve the problem.
But these things don't happen in a vacuum. And that's the thing, is that if it were, that would be doable. But what we have is social media, et cetera, keeping you in the past, keeping you doing that same dumb routine that sabotages healthy behaviors in a lot of ways. So you just have to like be very aware of it.
It is like, to me, I think it's maybe not in America because we don't do these kind of things, but I think in Europe we're going to see social media become illegal or not available to people under the age of 18. Because to me, it seems like the same as gambling. The same as like walking through a casino all the time. Where we like, it's absolutely 100% designed to do that. And there's a reason why we don't put young children in there, because they don't have the fully developed brain to be able to understand what is going on and be able to make those decisions to stop or to, have awareness of their behavior or actions.
Let's wind it down.
Dude, good fucking episode. Woo! Loved that.
Guys, Sarah went out.
I went out.
She got drunk.
And then I felt bad.
But we did find out she loves dad jokes. I mean, she found out. We all knew.
Yes, I found out. Happy to be here.
If you want to cry a lot or feel good about music, you should watch. It's called Long Promised Road, the Brian Wilson documentary on Amazon. Social media takes you in the past.
Yep.
Optical illusions.
Bring you to the present.
Back to the future.
Oh, it's so cool.
Yeah.
But we might see it all differently based on what your past experiences are.
And the brain is doing all kinds of work, including probably predicting your political affiliation, or at minimum reflecting it.
So crazy.
And if you haven't seen The Bridge and you feel like you are, stable enough to enjoy it without being upset by the loss of life, I do recommend it because it's very insightful and a good reminder of the ways in which people are suffering all around us.
Yes.
And my brother just got a tattoo. Do you ever, that Mr. Rogers saying, the 3 secrets to life?
No, what are they? I don't.
Be kind, be kind, be kind.
Oh, yes, I do.
And so he got that tattoo. It just says, be kind, be kind, be kind. Oh. And that documentary makes me think of it. I mean.
Yes. Oh, my God, my heart. That's so sweet, Suze.
It is. Anyway. Yeah. Your brain. It's a miracle.
It really is.
And
but
also.
Don't listen to it all the time.
Yeah, and also an obstacle.
Right.
But leave us a 5-star review and tell them you like when Sarah goes, Because
it's me thinking, guys. This is how I come up with this material.
Yeah.
And this,
you think this comes out of thin air?
Right. Come on.
Check out our merch. I got notified that your shirt is not in the merch in our candy store.
What?
I put Adam on the case. I don't know why. So hopefully that'll be up by the time this episode comes out. You should grab it.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next time.